Welcome to Spin the Record, the show where I spin a wheel containing each and every one of the records in my collection, and then I review the album. I've been collecting vinyl records for about 5 years now. I've amassed a collection that spans genres and decades, from 70s folk pop to death metal. I like to think I have a pretty wide range of my music taste. Let's spin the wheel. The Dillinger Escape Plan, Miss Machine. Oh, Dillinger, one of the greatest metal bands to come out of the late 90s and early 2000s. Forming in 1997, the Dillinger Escape Plan, named after the elusive bank robber John Dillinger, is a mathcore band, which is a combination of the aggression and intensity from hardcore, but with a certain technicality, dissonance, and chaos. And chaotic is exactly how I describe them. Breakneck riff changes while the frontman screams their head off. Their live shows have been a spectacle of destruction and energy. Like this clip from a shopping mall. In 1997, they released their first album, Calculating Infinity. The fan favorite of their career. A fantastic album to be sure, but I've never really been able to get into it aside from a few bangers. In 2001, their lead singer, Dmitry Minakakis, would quit the band on amicable terms, seeing as he'd returned for the 25th anniversary tour of this album. The next year, after finding a new singer, the band would record a one-off EP with Mike Patton, Irony is a Dead Scene. After becoming acquainted while opening for Mr. Bungle a few years prior, combining their ferociousness with Patton's typical brand of experimentation. The new singer for Dillinger would be Greg Puciato, and in 2004, they would release their second album, Miss Machine. My copy is the 2023 Yellow Repress. It comes in a single sleeve and goes for around $23 typically. The album cover is an extended version of the art that features on the CD and streaming services. Here's the back cover. Human body parts are edited onto machinery to create this really abstract, fleshy supercomputer, in a sense. Honestly, I can't decide if this is one of the greatest or worst album covers of all time, but it's certainly iconic. The art was handled by Brian Monturi, but it was actually the original singer, Dmitry Minakakis, that designed and came up with the layout for the album cover. The insert features more of the same type of art, and the lyrics for each song in one long string. The title Miss Machine ties into the art and some of the lyrical themes, being a play on words for Miss Machine, which means to machine a part, but it doesn't dimensionally fit its designed purpose. Miss meaning woman, and, well, machine. Which can kind of be an analogy for the band, sounding like a chaotic machine, but deeply human at the same time. The Miss Machine lineup consists of Greg Puciato, currently of Better Lovers, on vocals, Ben Weinman leading the ship on guitar and producing, Brian Benoit, or Benoit, on guitar, Liam Wilson, currently of In Flames, on bass, and Chris Penny, also formerly of Coheed and Cambria, on drums. Before we get into this, I have to say, I will not be doing a super deep dive into the lyrics. One, because they're not the same depth as, like, Tool, for example. This is not a knock against Greg's lyrics, though. And B, most live recordings are muffled because of the sheer amount of moshing in the crowd, so I have to use studio recordings. I don't wish to be copyright claimed more than I already am. Let's drop the needle on side one. Panasonic Youth is another play on words, with the band Sonic Youth and the electronic company Panasonic. The intro blasts the door open, sending you flying back 15 feet.
We won't despair of the honor, see of the deserving, follow the day until the years found, cold every the best, there was no remorse.
This line is describing the way society follows their orders and does what they're told. The mist machine gears stop working and turn against their oppressors without remorse.
We've got to an understanding, you lose, I profit.
Is one of my favorite lines from the album. It's just super fun and quotable. This song came with a music video, which features the band in some decrepit parking garage, glitching in and out of frame as they rock out. Very 2000s, but it's charming. The song ends by Chris Penny's driving beats and Greg belting out, a sort of call to action to stop being a cog in a machine that doesn't care about you, because your clock is winding down, and you're wasting the precious life you have.
Winding down. Cry your eyes, sunshine, while there's still time.
Panasonic Youth transitions perfectly into Sunshine the Werewolf. Probably one of my favorite transitions between songs, maybe aside from Parable into Parabola by Tool. Sunshine is possibly my favorite song on the album. This is a really disgusting and creepy track about a phenomenon known as bug chasing. People go around and purposefully give and receive sexually transmitted diseases. These people share their love with each other, cascading into their eventual deaths if left untreated. About a minute and 30 into the song, it slows down with the iconic Then a bit later, Greg lets out a distorted scream as chaotic orchestral sounding instrumental climaxes in a way I can only describe as cinematic. Track 3, Highway Robbery. One of the first glimpses of a more accessible sound, Highway Robbery lights the room on fire while still having a really definable chorus. Kind of playing into the societal theme of Panasonic Youth, the Mist Machine parts subvert the expectations of the people in power by crashing their fancy parties. The narrator is fed up with being lied to and blinded from the truth. The lives of the wealthy are in his hand. The disguise is the front they put up to appear as philanthropic and charismatic. This could also be a reference to masquerade parties. The song ends powerfully and abruptly. Absolute banger. It's a full-on sonic assault as soon as Van Damsel begins. Van Damsel, I'm guessing, is a play on words. Van Damme being a famous action star and martial artist. Damsel meaning a young woman, typically associated with the phrase damsel in distress. Greg seems to be singing about a damsel that did him wrong, calling her a... This woman and the narrator seemingly used to be in love, but that certainly is not the case anymore. The song caps off with... before fading out with an electronic whistling. Phone Home is one of the more eerie tracks, starting off with some vocals that I was half convinced were from Trent Reznor. As you'd expect, the song explodes into its chorus. The narrator protected and supported this other person in a dark moment, but they're acting like they're owed something in return. Extremely disgusting. It sounds like our narrator is premeditating a certain kind of crime against this person. The narrator then proclaims that she belongs to him and that she looks innocent, and he likes that. Fantastic song. The lyrics are super creepy, but anyone with a brain can tell that the band isn't endorsing this type of violence. We Are the Storm kicks off side 2. It returns to the concepts of societal collapse. The malfunctioning androids are killing each other, in the way that the top percent likes to see. I absolutely love this lyric. The uprising of the pawns, taking out the strongest piece being the queen. White picket drive-by is even more interesting. You don't often see drive-by shootings in rich areas, usually only areas that suffer from poverty. This elite of kings and queens on the chessboard don't understand what it's like to be sucked up in the storm, so the storm is coming to them. The instrumentation is impeccable here. Now in the eye of the storm, we get our first soft vocals on the album. The song ramps back up and the storm takes them all away. Crutchfield Tongs is an interlude of industrial machinery before we get to the big hit.
First off, let me say, you look so tired. Rest your head and shut your eyes.
Track 8, Setting Fire to Sleeping Giants, was a very successful song for them. Many people remember it from Guitar Hero. The top comments on the music video are all talking about how Greg looks like a nerd that needs to go home because he has school in the morning. The band is playing in a bar, and a patron picks up a girl there. And to put it bluntly, a very Patton-esque vocal, which is one of people's criticisms of Greg. This man has drugged the woman and taken her into his car. Horrific and disgusting. But unfortunately, it's a catchy chorus that reminds me of Panic at the Disco, to be honest.
Strangers can't take you where you wanna be. In broken alleys, in the back of every street. Close your eyes, oh no!
These guys do not stop with the creepy lyrics, but this is still a great song that people remember fondly. Track 9, Baby's First Coffin. This song seems to be about abortion.
Jesus, we've gone and done it again!
These two people are unexpectedly having a baby, and not quite ready for it. The woman was hiding the fact that she was pregnant to avoid the tough discussion, opting to terminate the pregnancy. The father is distraught when he finds out about this, blaming her. Greg then begins chanting. The song softens up while Puchado sings rather quickly, accusing the woman of sliding into his life as an instrument of seduction, asking if the last kiss still tastes as good as the first. It seems their relationship is crumbling because of this situation. Love this song. Super brutal. Track 10, Unretrofied. The real ones know this from SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. Unretrofied is a made-up word that means to modernize and to evolve into a robotic conformity. But it's hilarious because it's probably the only song that could ever get radio play from this album. Unretrofied is a very commercial sounding song that the band got a lot of flack for at the time. This ties back into the Miss Machine concept, questioning if we're unretrofying into a technology-controlled world, becoming zombies for the more powerful to manipulate. Sounds pretty familiar. He then proceeds to say, wood-paneled wagon, carpool dragons, killing me again. I love this because it doesn't make any sense. It reminds me of the guy that types random phrases in between his tweets because he doesn't want AI to replicate his words, throwing them off. I always love the little electronic flares in the song. Unretrofied is a meta take on commercialism in the mainstream, while being exactly that. The sarcasm is incredible. The top percent has gnawed off the feet of the oppressed, and they can't walk. They can't think for themselves because they're just machined parts. The song fades out and then returns with its catchy chorus for what probably is my favorite fake-out ending of all time. I know this isn't the most beloved Dillinger song, but it might be one of my favorites due to personal nostalgia. An incredible end to the album. I lied. I lied to you. I just love how sudden the intro to this song is. The actual final track, The Perfect Design, is Miss Machine's last chance to obliterate your eardrums, and it does not disappoint. I'm not going to dive too deep into the lyrics here. I think the intensity speaks for itself. The machine is dismantling itself. The perfect design has failed. There's a bit of stigma online about their career after Calculating Infinity. Some people claiming they sold out or the magic was lost. Personally, I have no idea where they are coming from. This album is fantastic. It's their aggression and violence, but streamlined and slightly more accessible. Just because you can now understand what the lyrics are, doesn't mean they went soft. Other people claim that Greg tramples over the instrumentals with a Mike Patton impression, which I don't understand either. I hear similarities, he has his Patton-isms, but Greg has his own style and a depth that I didn't really hear with Dimitri, who was more raw and slightly limited. But it still worked. At times, the instrumentation is so overstimulating that you have no other choice but surrender to it. In a good way, of course. This is the perfect first stop for anyone that's interested in getting into this band or the genre. This was the inaugural episode of Spin the Record. Comment below if you guys like the concept or should I just retire? That's that's it. That's really all I have to say. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to me. I really need it. If you don't subscribe to me, I will send Greg Puciato to go under your bed and scream these lyrics. Yeah, anyways, see ya!